Alright folks, and welcome back to another edition of our venture in the visual novel Adventure of a Lifetime. Last episode, it looks like Emily has been given a place to stay by Hiroki's grandmother, Machiko, but at the same time totally just ditched Hiroki. And this is something that I'm actually fighting with a little bit, because on one hand, Machiko is saying that life's an adventure, so is catering to Emily by letting her stay at her cafe, but then just totally just throwing Hiroki out when it's like, okay, wait a minute, you're claiming that Hiroki showed up unannounced, but Hiroki is saying that they had a phone conversation, but yet here's Emily showing up as a complete stranger, and you're going to cater to the complete stranger, which I agree is something you should do, but totally just bashing out your grandson. Now, there could be some history behind that, but I don't know what that is, so I'm trying to give some grace at the same time until I get a full understanding of what the beef is between the two of them. But it just seems just too aggressive for my taste. But then again, I don't know the whole story behind it, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions until I know all the facts of the issue. But the basic, if there was any lesson in that, it would be that is, if we're seeing a beef between people, it's important that we understand all the facts surrounding it before we jump to any conclusions, because otherwise we could be making a mistake. So there's a lesson in that regard. So with that, we're going to continue as Chisa, who joined the party on the adventure with Emily, as well as Hiroki. And let's see what's going on at the diving shop, which is, from my recollection, is one of the shops owned by one of Chisa's residents. So let's see what happens. Yes, Finn. Let's load it up. Oh, love that music right there. And on the last part, there's a little bit of playfulness going on where Chisa starts to grin when Emily asks if the ghost ship, based on the historical factors of ships sinking and what the water can do to them, if the ship she's looking for is actually just a ghost ship. To which Chisa's getting a little entertained out of this. So let's see what happens. And for good measure. I guess we're gonna find out.
もしかして怖いの？怖くなんてないわ。幽霊なんて信じてないから。ニヤニヤ。腹立つその顔。
Well, Ogasawara does have a lot of ghost stories, seeing as it was the site of several attacks during the war.
そうなの？でも全然怖くなんてないけど。
Emily didn't seem to realize it, but she was gripping the hem of my shirt, clearly shaken.
安心なさい。嵐のたびにあちこちいなくなるから幽霊船って呼ばれてるだけよ。驚かせることはあっても悪さなんてしないから。
With that, Chisa grabbed my arm and pulled me away from Emily, forcing her hand to let go of my shirt. So where was the last sighting? Chisa opened the map.
この辺りだって。
That's pretty close. We just had a boat.
おやおや、これは愉快な光景が繰り広げられておりますな。
Chinami was spying on us from between the wetsuits hanging at the back of the shop. Morning, Chinami.
おはよう、ヒロ兄。そして金髪のお姉様。
Jeez, does nobody remember her name?
おはよう。
Or were they ever told it? Were they ever told her name? I don't recall. Chinami stared at Emily.
何？いや、お構いなく。とてもお綺麗なお姉様だと思いまして。
And here's the part where Emily blushes.
我がグアネもこれは強力なライバルが出現したなと。
Oh gosh. Oh! Chisa grabbed Chinami by the scruff of her neck. Easy.
何をするグアネ。くだらないこと言ってんじゃないの。それから誰がグアネだ。
Folks, if you start acting in that matter, in most cases, it just confirms the thesis.
話せ。退屈な島暮らしでエンターテインメントに飢えてるんだ。
What, you ain't got no Xbox or PlayStation? Chisa led the struggling Chinami on the back of the shop.
青い瞳の綺麗なお姉さん、チナはあなたの味方ですから。ありがとう。何なのあの子。
Let's hope. She's definitely different, but she's shy like you. So maybe she felt some kind of kinship.
私、別に変な子じゃないわ。人見知りだけど。
I didn't mean any disrespect. Anyway, she's a good girl, so don't mind her.
分かった。ヒロ君が言うなら。
She is just really taken aback whenever Emily says Hiro-kun. It's like, Chisa, you can say it too. It's not like Hiro's gonna ignore you. Chisa came back and stared at Emily and I.
ちょっと失礼。
Chisa bumped Emily out of the way and stood next to me. You know what, Chisa, you might as well just claim him as yours. You know, I don't get this with some of these folks sometimes. Like, it is clearly indicative that the individual has feelings for the other. Just confess them, for crying out loud. Why make it more difficult than it has to be? Why do they do that? Why do they do that? Why? Pardon me.
Sa, 行きましょうか。
Let the rivalry begin.
修羅場の予感。
A disturbance in the force. Chisa and I took Emily to Omura Beach. Amongst all the visitors to the beach, we were the only ones not in swimsuits, standing on the edge of the water.
もしかして、ここから泳いでいくの？
Emily had gone stiff. I doubt it.
あ、来た来た。おーい！
Chisa started signaling out towards the water. A small boat-like object could be seen coming in from the open sea.
Oh, say!
Ryota was paddling towards us. Chisa and I waded out to meet him and pulled the boat up to the sand. So this is your boat, huh, Ryo?
Oh, yeah!
何これ？変な形。カヌーみたい。みたいじゃなくてカヌーよ。
Chisa added frankly. But it was much larger than your average canoe. On the beach sat a canoe with long arms stretched out on either side of the hull like legs of a water bug.
アウトリガーカヌーって言うんだ。しかも特注品のな。
アウトリガー？
That's what the arms to either side are called. They keep the canoe stable and less likely to capsize.
船外機もついてるんだぜ。
本当だ、モーターボートなんだ。
Canoes were almost always paddled by hand, but this one had an engine. I assumed that's what Ryota meant by customized. Ryo, what do you even do with this thing?
釣りするために買ったんだが、手漕ぎで沖まで出るのは大変だからな。船外機を取り付けたんだ。
Why didn't you just get a boat?
でも家の仕事を手伝うようになって忙しくてな。釣りする時間もあんまりねえんだわ。
Ryota had been helping out at the family business ever since he graduated high school.
なんで好きに使ってくれ。チサ、お前操縦できるよな。
うん。こないだ2級免許取らされたわ。
Chisa's house, as we'd seen before, a diving shop. They not only rented out equipment, but also offered scuba diving courses and dive trips. And to take guests out to diving spots, they needed to run motorboats. Chisa was only 16, but she had gotten a small boat license to help with the family business.
さあ、乗って乗って。大丈夫なの？この船。
Thanks, Ryo.
おう、気をつけてな。お宝見つけたら俺にも分け前頼むぜ。
Considering the ages that they're talking about now, I wonder if Hiroki is actually not in junior high, but actually high school, because I would imagine 16 in Japan is considered high school age. And I would imagine that him and Chisa would be around the same age. But we'll see. All three of us climbed into the canoe and headed out to sea. An outrigger canoe rides closer to the water than most boats, so it was like gliding across the surface of the water. But there was so little resistance with the surface, it had the smoothest ride. It felt amazing. But even so,
大丈夫なの？このカヌー
Emily was crouched low in the canoe, holding onto the edge of the hull for dear life.
大丈夫だって言ってるでしょうか。でも
The boat swayed as it rode over a small wave, and Emily let out a scream as she almost fell overboard. Here we go, I said as I quickly offered her a hand.
ありがとう。
I wasn't surprised by her anxiety. It was her first time on a boat this small, after all. Emily squeezed my hand tightly and didn't seem likely to let go. This action seemed to be completely subconscious, so I just let her be. And you seem so strong and sure of yourself back on land. Emily started sulking as I teased her.
海は特別よ。陸に上がれば怖いものなんてないわ。さっき幽霊にビビってたくせに。
Speaking of, why do you hate the sea so much?
サメがいるからよ。
Emily whispered as she lost all color. Oh yeah, I heard that Jaws can be quite the character.
昔サメの映画を見て以来、海を見ると思い出すの。
I think we know the one she's talking about. Oh, that really famous one.
まあ確かにあれは怖かったわね。私もしばらく海に入るときビビってたもん。そう、サメがトルネードに乗って飛んでくるやつ。
That one?
何それ知らない。なんでサメがトルネードで飛ぶの？
Good question. I'd like to know that myself. Yeah, that one isn't quite what you call famous. It was a rather infamous B-movie. Those days, sharks were second only to zombies in the B-movie hierarchy. These days, sharks were turning into robots or zombies were going to space. I get sharks being scary, but how could that movie make you scared of the whole ocean?
それだけじゃないわ。海は暗くて底が見えないし、なんだか嫌な匂いがするし。
Chisa and I looked at each other.
どこの海の話してんだか。
Anyway, where are we now?
ね。
Chisa checked our location on the map.
もうちょいかな。
Looking around, I realized we were pretty far from land. And when Emily noticed, she almost burst into tears.
ねえ、こんな小さな船でこんな海の真ん中まで来ちゃっていいの？帰れなくなるんじゃ。本当に大丈夫なの？この程度余裕。私のご先祖様はこういう船で太平洋を渡ったんだから。どういうこと？知らない？ポリネシア人はカヌーで太平洋を渡ってハワイや日本にまで来たって。
It sounded hard to believe, but it was true. People had crossed the ocean in canoes, and naturally, this was before engines.
じゃなくて、あなたのご先祖様って。ああ、そっち。何代か前のご先祖様にハワイから来た移民がいたんだって。
Wow.
その人たちが日本人と結婚して子供を産んでまた誰かと結婚してというのを繰り返して私がここにいるわけ。
Originally, the Ogasawara Islands were uninhabited, but people from all over just ended up here and started living together. There are even people with Western ancestry, just like you.
そうなんだ。
You're of a mixed heritage, right?
うん。パパが日本人でママはアメリカ人よ。ママのご先祖様は北欧から渡ってきたって言ってた。
I guess you and Chisa both come from people that crossed the sea. Many years ago, before computers helped with navigation, people risked their lives during sea voyages. Quite the adventure. And two descendants of those adventurers were here now. But these two were nothing compared to my grandpa, especially when it came to crossing the seas.
アウトリガーカヌーは漁にも使われてたから物はたくさん積めるし簡単には転覆しない。安定感抜群よ。
Well, I learned something today.
だからその手をいい加減離しなさい。
And of course, she had to add that in there. Chisa pointed it out. Emily turned bright red and let go of my hand. If you get scared again, a cute girl like you is always free to take my hand. Ow!
調子に乗るな。
Chisa attacked me with the paddle. Good heavens, girl! This girl is violent! I mean, at least I could bop upside the head with a hand or something, but you have to use the paddle? Jeez! No respect! Even if she wasn't being serious, I'd appreciate if she didn't use a weapon.
たく、もしかしてあんたら家でもそんな調子なんじゃないでしょうね。
Chisa, just tell this dude that you like him already. Jeez, just tell him you like him.
どうなのよ、そこんとこ。
Not at all.
どうして？
What kind of question is that? Emily suddenly looked embarrassed. Well, for one, Emily sleeps on the second floor.
うん。
And that stubborn old granny has insisted that I sleep on the floor in the cafe on the first floor.
ごめんね、ヒロ君。
Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Besides, staying at the shop is kind of what I wanted anyway. Okay, so Grandma did let him stay in the residence. So, I'll give some points for that.
ふむ。ならばよし。
What was that supposed to mean? Well, I'm sure we'll find out what that's supposed to mean in the episodes to come. But for now, we're going to call it here. So yeah, I'd say we've definitely probably got the developing a love triangle, if you will, in motion. Because Chisa obviously is quite jealous, as we can obviously tell. But Emily, I'm pretty sure it's more just out of intuition, instinct, or just reaction more than anything else. And that pretty much her only connection at this resort right now is Hiroki. So naturally, she's probably going to latch onto him in that regard. Because why latch onto Chisa, especially when she gives the cold stare? But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw this time around, maybe consider leaving a like. And if you'd like to see more, maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. And until next time, happy mixing, everyone.